This video is brought to you by my supporters over at Hey Craftapreneur. Hey Craftapreneur is my monthly pattern club, which includes my knitting, crochet, and Sentro knitting machine designs. Each month, members are given access to at least 2 of these designs, as they are either added to the library or updated, and they will have continual access to my entire written/video pattern library for as long as they are members. Membership also gives you the title of Super Crafty, because that's what you are. Members are also given complimentary access to most of my crochet or knitting courses that are published on the website. For example, I recently published a step-by-step crochet course, which will walk you through all the terminology, discussions about gauge, and the actual mechanics of the craft. It is a self-paced course that is usually purchased individually, but because you are monthly or quarterly supporters, you get access to it totally free as long as you're signed up for the club. The support I get from Hey Craftapreneur allows me to continue to operate this channel and publish the tutorial content that you've come to know and love. So, if you want to support me and make cool stuff, as I'm sure you've seen under the community tab here, then consider heading over and signing up today after the end of this tutorial. Alright, let's dive into the instruction. Hello everybody, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and I am back with another Sentro knitting machine tutorial. Last time we were here I covered waste yarn, which is not something that I typically use in my own projects just because, I don't know, but it is something that a lot of people have been hounding me over the years and have been wondering about and whatnots, and so I came back and I did a tutorial in my lovely teaching style that you guys seem to adore. If you've been here before and you're not subscribed, please do so, because I am trying to figure out my life with this channel right now, and it would really help me out a lot, and would also tell YouTube to keep recommending my content. Alright, so today I am here with a community request, because last time I did waste yarn with a crochet hook, right? So when it came to joining the rows, I did it with a crochet hook, but somebody in my community pointed out that not everybody knows how to crochet that uses this machine, and that's certainly not something that I think about often, so I appreciate your input on that, and it gave me just a little bit more insight about the people who watched those tutorials from me. But alright, so today I'm going to be showing you how to do that, so I'll be cranking up a whole new swatch. I'm gonna dive in. I want to apologize for this video taking so long. My life has been really hectic. I got out some wisdom teeth back when the person first commented, so hopefully you're still out there. Hopefully you still want to see this. Anyway, we're gonna pan down and dive into this content. Alright, today I am here with my Sentro 22 needle knitting machine. I will not be going through all the specifics of getting started with this machine. As many of you may know, I do have an entire playlist about troubleshooting and getting started with this machine on my channel, so if you want to learn more in depth about the Sentro knitting machine, then I will leave that playlist linked at the end of this video as well. Today I am going to be using 2 compatible yarns with the Sentro, which is Lion Brand Scarfy and Basic Stitch. Okay, so I'm thinking that Basic Stitch will be my waste yarn for today. Usually I would use a much cheaper kind of raggedy yarn. I've mentioned using the yarn that comes with the machine in my first video because, I mean, let's face it, nobody actually uses that for projects. Anyway, I'm just going to cast on as I normally would. No slip knot this time. I used to make videos with slip knots when I cast on, but that's another topic for another day. Alright. Now I'm going to crank up about 10 to 15 rows of waste yarn. My machines, unless it's the 48, do not have a row counter, and I get in my comment section quite often, how do I count my rows? So my super duper top secret as a designer on this machine is that typically, my rule of thumb, 1 inch is 6 rows. Roughly, with this machine. So if you have a tape measure on standby and you want to be super duper precise in your waste yarn, then you can know that if you have 1 inch of fabric, it's probably 6 rows. Or you can try to get something sharp like a knitting needle and kind of pick them apart and count them, but that's my little cheating way of counting my rows on this machine. But alright. Alright, I am satisfied with the length of this, and I'm just going to snip this and change my color here. So I'm going to change my color before I catch on to this black needle. So I'm just going to drop about 7 inches of yarn down in there and pop this into the threader so it can start catching my stitches. As I stated in the first tutorial, you want to make sure that you're using contrasting yarns when you're dealing with waste yarn, because you're going to be working with the main body of your yarn, and if you have them too similarly paired, then that could be a nightmare for you. Alright, just kind of looking for that black needle again. Alright, I want to change back to my waste yarn now. We're going to pretend that this is a full project. I'm going to reconnect it. Pop my other yarn out the threader. Make sure this black needle is catching my waste yarn color. And pop it back into the threader, and here we go. I'm not going to crank as many rows this time for the waste yarn on this end. I don't really need to. Alrighty, and I am coming back around to that black needle, and you can let it catch the yarn. You don't have to because it's waste yarn. But I'm going to crank a whole row without yarn just to get this bad boy off the machine, and then we're going to pan down and deal with the aftermath. What's that? Alright, this is what we got here. Oops. This is what we've got here, and what we want to do is turn the fabric inside out so that we can see these rows here, because this is what we'll be working with. Okay, and what you really want to be able to do is seam this together. So maybe I should turn it back. You want to be able to seam this together, so maybe don't turn it all the way inside out. But you do want to at least make a cuff in it so you can see where you're working. Now, this works considerably different than it does with the crochet hook, just because you're not actually creating stitches, you're kind of whipping this together. So in this case, I would work this just a wee bit differently. So here, let's get that good and centered for you. Here, I'm going to kind of whip into this gray top stitch on the same side that my waste yarn is coming out of. I'm also going to dip down into the stitch that this string is coming out of right here. And then I'm going to come over here on the adjacent side and work underneath those two loops as well. And I'm just going to whip that. And I feel like this works out better because in my first sample that I experimented with this needle method, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't the best looking seam that I'd seen either. And so I think this helps it out just a wee bit. So I'm going to do that again and come over to the next set of stitches here. Okay, underneath those two. And I'm coming over here and I'm going to grab these two. Now this could be overkill, but again, I think that the other method that I was doing similarly to the crochet hook was a little something. we're just gonna take our time to do this all the way across this row. You really want to, again, be slow with this because you have every possibility with the sewing needle to pick up strands from your waste yarn, especially if your colors are kind of close together. But sometimes you can have those little invisible fibers as well that you pick up, and you'll end up sewing your waste yarn to your main project. So if you're going to do this method with the sewing needle, then I also recommend you account for that in the rows you crank and be prepared to lose maybe 1 or 2 rows. As you can see, this is creating a fairly decent seam across the top, but my moment of truth will come when I go to unravel this, see how it worked out. Okay, in these last few stitches here, you're going to have to kind of puff that corner out to find them. And this corner here, I'm going to go down in there and grab. Alright, and we're going to go ahead and whip that closed as well. Okay, and I just kind of want to knot this end. Alright, and so now that that is closed, you should be free to find the top of this waste yarn and just start unraveling it. Oops. And we're getting there. It's kind of scary. Okay. And this is one of the also downsides of working with a wool blend in this instance because, yeah. Alright. Let's see how this is going to pull through. Okay, we're just gonna cut this. And this is what I meant. You kind of have, and I'm glad I can show this to you, you have more room to weave in the waste yarn into the project when you use the darning needle. But if it's like cheap yarn that you're using and you don't really care about it as waste yarn, then there's no problem with just hacking it up like I'm doing here. Though this yarn wasn't that cheap, but it's fine. Alright. Alright. And I can just kind of pull and adjust that, but this is the kind of edge you get from from that. And this one is, again, a lot neater than just grabbing the one loop as I would with a crochet hook. Now if you wanted to, what I did on my other swatch, which I have no idea where it is at this point, but on my other swatch, what I did was I turned it inside out, and either with the sewing needle or, again, the crochet hook, you could take in a couple extra rows and just kind of hide that seam so it looks more finished. More so like this, but the only thing with that is that I don't like how bulky it makes that inside seam. Like, it's one thing if it's a scarf, but if it's a hat or a sock, that's not going to feel so great when you wear it. So I don't know, I would just kind of leave it like this. It's almost like some kind of tubular bind off that you would use in knitting. So, or like a blend of grafting, actually. Kind of looks like Kitchener stitch. But anyway, this is the result of that community request. I hope it was helpful for you. You can let me know in the comments if you're out there. Do you prefer this method, or do you crochet and prefer the other method? You can let me know. If you don't know how to crochet and you've always kind of wanted to learn and you're intimidated, I have a brand new course over on my website, and it'll run you through all the basics of learning how to crochet from beginning to end, so you can be well on your way to making great projects. I will leave the link to my website in my description box below. I would also ask that if you enjoy my Sentro content in general, consider becoming a member of my pattern club, Hey Crafterpreneur. Currently, my Sentro patterns over there include my sock variations, so you guys might not know I'm the original sock girly on the Sentro here, and I have updated the original pattern to make a more comfortably fitted heel for both crochet and knitting. So if you knit or you crochet, you can do that heel effortlessly. And I've also figured out knee socks on the Sentro. So if that's something that's interesting to you and you want to see my content continue to thrive, then I ask that you head over and sign up for that today. It's $6 a month or $20 quarterly, and it goes a long way as far as the longevity of this channel. Plus you get your name featured at the end of this video, like it's probably rolling now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thanks again for all your patience and being a member of my community, and until next time, happy making. Alright, if you made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you so much for being here and being a part of my community. If you enjoy my Sentro content, then you need to know, like the rest of my community, that coming soon I might not be able to make these videos anymore. And I don't know if YouTube has been pushing these videos or community posts out to the people that need to see them and that enjoy these different types of content. However, can't really harp on the past. By the end of May, I will be determining whether or not I can continue doing tutorials for the Sentro, crochet, and knitting on this channel. And the number one thing you can do to help me out is, one, be subscribed to the channel, but also head over to my website and check out my $6 pattern club, Hey Crafterpreneur. I post about it really often, but when I make polls on this channel, apparently people have never heard of it a day in their life, so I really don't know what's going on. But if you want more information on the program, you can head to the link in my description box below. Head over there, check it out, consider signing up today. If I can meet at least, 4/5 of my goal by the end of June, which is the end of my hiatus typically, then I will stick around and continue making videos for you all in the future. Otherwise, it's going to be kind of rough, and I'm going to have to put down the channel, and there's just going to be a bunch of and things that I'll harp on later in a future channel chat. So if you are in any way intrigued by my content and you like to support me and you like what I do, please consider becoming a supporter today, and you'll also get your name featured on my cool end card. Alright, thanks for watching, y'all, and until next time, happy making.